It is Monday morning, and between weekend leftovers and a frozen roast in the Instant Pot, the lunch should be covered. Yesterday, when we were home between church and my parents' house, I mixed up a quick bread dough. We didn't have enough time for more than 3 stretch and folds, but it still works great. I'm also going to skip the fridge rise. I've been doing this a lot lately. Once I shape my bread and put it in the Banneton baskets, I just put it onto the top of my oven while it is preheating at 500 degrees, which is the temperature that I will bake the bread. I'll put the dough in the Bannetons right on top of the oven, and because the oven is so warm, that will make it rise really fast on the second rise. This is how I've been doing my winter bread lately, and it's funny with sourdough, it's very seasonal. You find your ways of doing it in the summer, and then you find different ways of doing it in the wintertime. So this time of year, I let it ferment for a really long time on the first rise because my kitchen is quite cool, and then I speed up the second rise. I find this also works with anything you're doing a large amount of whole grain on, whether it's a 100% whole grain dinner rolls or this bread is 2/3 whole grain. I find that if you do the second rise for as long as it would take in a cold kitchen, it gets way too sour. So I just skip that altogether, and I can start bread the day before and then the next morning bake it if I need it for that day. So it's a really nice flow because I'm not waiting a whole lot of extra time. This afternoon, I have a lot of decluttering to do. I want to talk about simplifying my home, especially this time of year. I'm thinking about Christmas, not only the gifts that we'll bring into the house that will make things a bit more cluttered, but also getting out the Christmas decor in my home's current state sounds kind of overwhelming. It already feels cluttered to me, and I think I have a few theories on why that is. So I'm going to work on a few things that will allow me to go even deeper with decluttering. Decluttering is something that I do all the time on a very regular basis. It's a regular part of our routine. I don't feel like I go about just acquiring things nonstop, but still in a home with 11 people, there just ends up being things that come in that can make my workload in this home feel unnecessarily complicated. And it doesn't need to be that way. And also, I just want a nice, clean slate so we can enjoy getting out the Christmas decor. We can enjoy all of the fun Christmas festivities without feeling overwhelmed. It is only my second year living in this home during Christmas time. I think last year when we shared our Christmas home tour, I thought and said that it would be the only year, but the house build is taking a bit longer. And I learned that last year, this house isn't suited with Christmas decor as well as our last home. I think it's just the amount of space and the size of our family. It felt like too much. It felt more like clutter. And my goal in my home is constantly trying to find ways that make it feel more efficient, make it feel more possible and easy to get done the things that we need to get done. Though I am trying to simplify my home when it comes to the hidden spaces, so those closets where there are things that you know are in there, even though you don't see it, you feel kind of uneasy just knowing that it's unorganized, a mess. I'm also trying to simplify my meals as this season has been really, really busy. We've put a heavy focus on very basic meals. So lots of meat, whole grains, potatoes, vegetables, raw milk, and not trying to get too fancy when it comes to mealtime. I have some ground beef thawed in the refrigerator, so I'm going to get some hamburger buns going so we can have that tonight for dinner. Again, meat, whole grains, potatoes, super simple. One way that I simplify my life is by curating a wardrobe with quality pieces that I love that make me feel good about myself. With Christmas and Thanksgiving and all of the holidays coming up, there are many events that we plan to go to. And when I looked in my closet, especially after having Miriam a few months ago, I felt like there wasn't anything that really worked for me right now in this season. So I picked through what worked, what didn't, Added a few new pieces from ThredUp, which is the sponsor of today's video. They help me dress my postpartum body. They're from brands that I love and all thrifted. So ThredUp is the world's largest online thrift shop. I love being able to find exactly what I'm looking for by putting in search terms that work for me, put in my sizes, put in the brands that I like so that I'm not going to tons of different thrift shops looking for the perfect pieces. When I looked through my closet, I found that the only pants that currently work for me right now are pants by Everlane. So I got on ThredUp, I searched Everlane. Sure enough, I found these pants. They're kind of a orangish, camelish, tannish color that fit perfectly, and they pair well with the other basics I have: cardigan, sweaters, tank tops. My sister and I both agree that our postpartum uniforms have to nicely incorporate a baby wrap. These Everlane jeans have a retail price of $118 and a ThredUp price of $61.99. I paired them with some Sorrel ankle boots, this J. Crew shirt, and this real leather tote. All things I've found and curated from ThredUp. I have 3 or 4 cardigans that I've been wearing on repeat from ThredUp. Again, it works so well with my baby wrap. This one is from Gap. It has an estimated retail price of $69 and a ThredUp price of $25.99. I love when I am putting together a capsule wardrobe for a season to really base it on colors. I definitely lean into a simple approach when it comes to my wardrobe. I want to be able to reach into my closet, things just mix and match. I can pull out anything quickly and it worked well. To switch up the colors ever so slightly, I also grabbed a green cardigan from J. Crew. J. Crew is one of those trusty brands for me that always has items I like, so I know that when I put in that search term, I can find something that'll be within my style and be super high quality. This J. Crew wool cardigan has an estimated retail price of $128 and a ThredUp price of $37.99. To mix in a bit of a different color and texture, I also grabbed some corduroy pants from Gap. These have an estimated retail price of $70 and a ThredUp price of $16.99. Picked up this casual Gap skirt. It'll be perfect for any special occasions during the upcoming holiday season. Shop hundreds of brands for a fraction of the price, all in one place. Tap my link in the description box below and use code FARMHOUSE50 to get 50% off your first order plus free shipping. I am really looking forward to cleaning out a few spaces this afternoon. Some spaces in our home seem to get out of control really quickly. One would be the shoe area because it's a moving target with a lot of little children. Shoes wear out, they grow out of them. A new season will mean that they need a new pair of shoes for some certain reason, whether that's tennis shoes if they're in some kind of sports activity, or snow boots for the winter. We are always acquiring shoes and then always having to weed through them and make sure that we still have what we need. With 9 kids, you can imagine this is a constant thing. I mentioned that today for lunch, we are having a super simple meal of sourdough bread, roast, and mashed potatoes. We always have potatoes on hand, so that makes a very easy side dish to throw together. One of my main tricks to keep meals flowing in the kitchen very simply is to always have thawed out meat. Well, today I did not have thawed out meat after the weekend, but another trick I have up my sleeve is always knowing ways I can cook meat that isn't thawed out. And the Instant Pot does this beautifully for a roast. I try to always have bread, which makes for a wonderful whole grain side dish to round out any meal. Another space I really want to tackle this afternoon is the bookshelf area in our library is what we call it, but it's kind of like a second dining room. I know I've talked about that on here a lot because I just don't know what to do with it. And so many of you are like, it'd be a dream to have floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. I don't know why it bothers my brain so much to see that many things going on. Also, there's a lot of horizontal space when it comes to having as many bookshelves as we have here in this home, which means that they are clutter magnets. Even myself, I complain about this, but yet I also do it. You walk in the door with something that you don't want to deal with just now, whether that's a bill or a paint color sample for the new house build, or just anything that you need to tend to at a future date, which there's a lot of those types of things. Just set them there on that bookshelf, and before you know it, that whole room looks so incredibly cluttered, and I just can't handle it. And I know that I can't add Christmas decor to that situation. So that's a place I want to tackle. Another is this whole couch situation. I talked about this in a recent video I have some buyer's remorse. I also have sunk cost fallacy. So, sunk cost fallacy, I'm sure you know exactly what it is, but for those of you who don't, it's where you keep something because you spent money on it, you invested time in it. Well, I, for whatever reason, thought this particular couch was a good idea. So, obviously, I invested money in it, and then I also invested a bunch of time putting it together. And I regret my choice, but I'm also not ready to fully get rid of it because, again, of sunk cost fallacy. Plus, I'm not sure I know exactly what I want for the new house. And that's what puts me in a place of not really getting this home to exactly how we want it, knowing that it is temporary and putting a lot of our brain power into the new home means that there are so many things I would do differently. Like in that library room that bothers me, we would remove probably at least one entire wall of the library bookshelves. But I think for some people, that's a really cool feature. So if we go to sell this house in the future, I really want to leave them there because I think for some people, that's something they walk in and say, oh, this is amazing. There are library bookshelves. So I don't want to change that. Another thing would be the colors. It's a pretty green, but the green is everywhere and it's honestly difficult to work around. I'd like a little bit of variety. It's again, not to be ungrateful because this house is comfortable and it's working fabulous for the season that we are in, which is we are building a house. We needed somewhere to live while building the house. We wanted to sell our old place for many, many reasons. There are so many things I would jump right on, and I would have jumped on in this last year if this was a house where we were staying. So if you find yourself in a temporary situation and you're trying to make that situation comfortable and beautiful and functional for your family in whatever season of life you're in, let this be an encouragement to you that that is what I am working on today in my home. Even though we're not going to be here forever, making it work for us right now. And because of my sunk cost fallacy, I am not getting rid of our couch. We removed half of it, and I'm having Luke bring it to the new place because there is a bonus room above the garage that's going to be boy zone. And I promised all the boys that they could have the big, huge, comfy couch. And it won't bother me that the cushions are everywhere because it's boy zone. And that also adds to the fun. They think it's a great place to make forts. The covers are all washable, so at some point I could wash them. I mean, theoretically, will I? I don't know. But for now, removing half of that couch makes this place feel so much less cluttered. Having this massive couch and then these two chairs in here just felt like way too much. And every time I'd walk in the living room, if the kids were watching something, they'd all be sprawled out on the floor. Never once did I see every last bit of that huge couch being taken up. So we won't miss it. And now this room just feels so much better. And I think that's something that we have to sometimes make peace with ourselves, is if we made the wrong decision, you shouldn't have to dislike the way your house feels and functions forevermore just because you made a wrong decision. It makes way more sense to find what works best for your home. One test that I try to run everything by in my entire house is what I call the thrift shop test. If I saw the thing for 25 cents at a thrift shop, would I even bring it home? Now, if I saw that couch at the thrift shop for $50, I probably would bring it home and I'd probably give it to somebody else. But would I keep it in my home, even if it was super, super cheap at a thrift shop? Would I grab it, put it in my car, bring it all the way home, set it up? If the answer is no, then why would I still keep it in my home? This can be done in all areas of your home, whether you're decluttering a random closet you haven't visited in a while or a storage space. This is a really great test to run in a storage space. Would I bring something home from a thrift shop if it was basically free, put it in this storage space and keep it just because of its low cost? No, I would not. Then why would I keep it now? Why would I allow my space to feel cluttered and clunky and I have to move around this thing every time I'm trying to vacuum or dust, or the toddler gets it down all the time? So many things in our homes just don't make any sense. We put a weird sense of value on things that we already own. We make them more valuable than they would be if we didn't yet have them. Speaking of that, we inherited most of these books when we bought this house. When we bought this house, it was full of all kinds of things, and I went through and decluttered all of the closets and the attic space, so many areas in the home, but I left the books on the bookshelf simply because I felt like they looked maybe a little bit prettier with more books in them. For some reason, having half full bookshelves really bothers me and looks even more messy and unorganized, so I left them. But we are preparing for another move here in the next, hopefully, 3 or 4 months as we will move into our new house when it's completed. So it's time to really think about all the things that I don't want to pack up and move to the next house. So I decided that instead of having a bunch of half empty shelves and instead of keeping way too many books, we would just remove all of the books from one side of the room and put them all on the shelves on this side of the room. To me, that makes sense because it is almost as if visually the other side of the room that has all the bookshelves is just an open, empty wall because there are no books. Yes, it does have lines and grids, but effectively it's more like an empty wall because it's going to be empty. Plus, I have plans to decorate this space just a little bit for Christmas time. I didn't think of this last year, but I'm really excited to make use of it this time around. The dreaded shoe and coat closet. Now, I can only go so deep in this space. You can hear Miriam. Miriam's always on me here, so she's going to be making some noises. Because we have 11 people, we're going to have a lot of shoes. There's just no way around that. Now, in the new house, we do have a mud hall, is what we're calling it, because it's sort of a hallway from the back door into the main living space, the kitchen, the dining room, but it will be lined with cabinets. Kind of like the cabinets that we had at our last property, except for double, because it'll have that cabinetry on both sides. So still, it won't be infinite space, but it will be more space than this. But no matter how you slice it, it's a regular part of my life to go in and see what doesn't fit, what is broken, what doesn't have a match. Another spot I wanted to declutter today was a closet that had many items from the previous owner. I said I went into all the closets. Well, I didn't go into every last one. Plus, this closet has like a little secret area that's really high up where there was a bunch of Christmas decor stashed, Christmas decor that I won't end up using. And again, because we will be moving very soon, it makes sense at this point to make sure that there is nothing in this house that I don't want to move again. I will have to continue to revisit this. I did this at our last property as well. Once moving really became imminent, I went through with a whole different set of eyes. Like, okay, how valuable is this thing if I'm going to move it again? So stay tuned for that type of content. This becomes more of a regular thing, an afternoon devoted to it, but I can't, of course, spend an entire day. So now that the nap time is over and my decluttering time is over, I'm going to do a few chores, get dinner prepped, and spend the evening with my family. Don't forget to use my link in the description box below to shop my ThredUp collections and use code FARMHOUSE50 to get 50% off your first order plus free shipping.